What is up, everybody? Louis back here again. You got a fun night of fights. UFC Sao Paulo, a heavyweight main event. Number 9, Jailton Almeida taking on number 10, Derek Lewis. Short notice replacement, Derek Lewis. Makes it a little more exciting, in my opinion. Can Derek Lewis get a big knockout and make another run to the title? Or can Jailton Almeida just put another whooping on a tough, grizzled veteran? We'll see. Come main event, fun welterweight matchup. Gabriel BONFIM is trying to continue his rise up the weight class, taking on tough veteran Nicholas Dalby, who's on a little bit of a win streak. That should tell us a lot. And then you got BORRALHO continuing his ascension at middleweight. He's quietly been undefeated, taking on MAGOMEDOV. MAGOMEDOV coming off that embarrassing performance against Sean Strickland. A lot of hype died down. Can he get some of it back? We're going to find out. And you got BRENNER, seeing if he can recreate some magic, taking on KRUSCHEWSKY, a short notice replacement. BRENNER with that Cinderella story win against Goram Kutteladze. Can he do it again? Can he learn from that fight? And can he continue onto a win streak here? And then you got Angela Hill taking on Denise Gomez. This is a quiet fight on the card, but Angela Hill is a dog. She's a tough, grizzled veteran. Denise Gomez coming off 2 stellar performances in a row. I think this is the low-key fight of the card, in my opinion. Let's get into it. First fight of the night, 155 pounds. FERNANDES taking on Mark DIAKIESE. Mark DIAKIESE, first fight on the card. Very interesting. FERNANDES took on Felipe Douglas in LFA, his last fight in the first round. He misses a step-in jab, but then he gets a clinch and a head kick knockout. So he does that real quick. Before that, he took on Luan Sardinia. In the first round, he throws some hooks, and then he ducks the hook, and he gets a body lock trip right into side control, and then he takes the back. Nice, steady supply of ground and pound. Then in the second round, he throws some hooks when they're up against the fence. But he eats a couple straight shots in return. He gets a little reckless. But then he swings in the pocket and he misses the trip. But then he's able to get the clinch to the fence. He starts ripping the body. But then he gets caught in a front guillotine and hipped over and gets put on bottom and eats a bunch of ground and pound. But then in the third round, he plants his foot, sets for a lunge jab. It's a little too short. But then he eats a couple crosses, and he just kind of stands there with his hands down and takes some punches for no reason. It seems like whenever he's circling, so I don't know. But then he gets pancaked off his single leg attempt and eats some ground and pound. So, mixed bag performance there. And then Mark DIAKIESE took on Joel Alvarez his last fight. In the first round, he ducks. He's able to duck under the shot, and then he lands a counter 1-2. Then he's able to counter with some jabs at range and some kicks, but then he gets blitzed. Then he gives up his back off of his spin kick, but then he's able to hit a switch and get on top real quick. So pretty back and forth round. And Alvarez hits really hard. And then in the second round, he lands a 1-2 and then gets a double off the fence. Then he shoots an extended single and he gives up his back. And then he eats their headbutt situation on the feet. And he eats a flurry, but then he gets put in a Dars and submitted. So I don't know how much his headbutt played into it, but there's an unfortunate ending to it. But yeah, he looked pretty good on the feet, fast. He was able to defend the takedown on Joel Alvarez. And, you know, Mark DIAKIESE has a heavy wrestling game plan. Mark DIAKIESE minus 175. FERNANDES plus 145. You know, I'm just going to go with Mark DIAKIESE. Don't love the line. But FERNANDES, it's his UFC debut. I didn't see anything super impressive out of him, honestly. I think Mark DIAKIESE is going to be smart, but it seems like he's mixing in some more striking, some more big power shots in with his wrestling. So I think he'll try that up on the feet and then go for the takedowns if it's not working. But I think Mark DIAKIESE wants to win. I think he's eager to get back in there. Minus 175. I'm going to go with Mark DIAKIESE. We'll see what happens. Second fight of the night, 155 pounds. Eduardo MOURA taking on Montserrat Ruiz. MOURA took on Janai Silva, her last fight in Dana White's Contender Series. And Montserrat Ruiz took on Jacqueline Amarim. MOURA in the first round, she gets a blast double right into half guard, lands some ground and pound right into side mount. And then she's able to get full mount, ground and pound, 2 rear naked choke submission. So nothing, yeah, I mean, no shenanigans there. But she was able to use her ground and pound to set up the rear naked choke, which I like to see. And then Montserrat Ruiz took on Jacqueline Amarim. In the first round, she gets doubled off the fence, and she gives up the mount, and then she gets put in an armbar and rear naked choke, but she's able to defend. Montserrat is very tough. And then the second round, she eats a head kick, and he tries to catch the kick, but then she's able to get the takedown, but then she gets swept, sort of like a butterfly guard. And then she eats some ground and pound and gives up her back, and then a mount eats more ground and pound. Then in the third round, she blitzes with the 1-2. She's able to stuff the double leg attempt this time. She's able to get on top right in the full guard, but then she gets swept eventually with the MOURA attempt, and gets put in mount and eats some ground and pound and gets TKO'd. So, but she's really tough. Montserrat plus 440. Eduarda MOURA minus 600. I'm not going to bet money, but I'm going to bet, I think Eduarda MOURA is going to win. I think she's just going to take down Montserrat and just beat her up like Jacqueline did, basically. Montserrat doesn't have a lot of good counterattacks. She has a headlock. That's it. She might get her with it one time in one round, but I just think Eduarda MOURA, that price is ridiculous, but I see her just controlling the fight the whole time. If you want to bet money, bet on Montserrat Ruiz plus 400, but my official pick's Eduarda MOURA for sure. Third fight of the night, 115 pounds, women's strawweight, Angela Overkill Hill taking on Denise Gomez. Angela Hill, number 15, I think. Denise Gomez trying to get into the rankings. Angela Hill had a tough one against Mackenzie Dern on short notice. In the first round, she gets an underhook to the fence to get into a clinch battle. She's able to land a couple of knees there, but then she eats some 1-2s, throwing in the pocket. Whenever she throws her lunge jabs, she kind of gets countered with those. And Mackenzie, this fight was really heavy with the striking attacks, and she threw a lot of blitzes and just a lot of volume, so it was different. But then she could drop with the 1-2 and a blitz, but she's able to defend the passes on the ground, but then she does eventually give up mount, and then she eats some ground and pound, but she's able to defend the armbar, but then she gets punched in the face a lot, but she did not give up that armbar. Then in the second round, she gets pressed with some big shots, but then she's able to get the pass by around the back. She tries to drag her down, and then can't really get her down, but then she keeps that underhook clinch on the fence and makes her wear her weight. She lands an overhand in the pocket exchanges. She's able to stuff the double attempt, and then she's able to get double unders up against the fence there. Then in the third round, she catches the kick, and she gets on top, but then she gets put in a triangle and eats some ground and pound from the bottom and can't really maintain a good top position. But then back on the feet, she eats a knee off of her level change. But she's able to roll through the headlock. She's able to reverse it, but then she gets hip tossed back up on the feet. And she gets mounted and needs some more ground and pound, and it's tough. Okay, it's Mackenzie Dern leveled up in this fight, but Angela's very tough. Showed some solid wrestling skills. Denise Gomez, she took on Yasmin Uruguay her last fight. She was a big underdog in the first round. She lands some right crosses, drops her, gets a TKO. Less than 30 seconds. Very impressive. Before that, she took on Bruna Brazil. In the first round, she drops her with the leg kick, and then overhand right, gets to a clinch up against the fence, and then she's able to work her way and get an underhook there, settling on a good position. Then she lands a lunge overhand right, but then she blitzes some hooks, and then she gets a back trip takedown off of the fence. A little sloppy. She kind of pulls her on top of her, but it worked out. Then in the second round, she lands an overhand right, and overhand, and she's able to go to the head and arm clinch, which is something you don't see a lot. But then she's able to land a left hook to the body and then a right hook to the head, and then drops her with that right hook, and she's able to get a TKO via ground and pound, jump right on her, and she has really good finisher instincts, so it should be interesting. Denise Gomez minus 135, Angela Hill plus 115. Denise Gomez has a lot of power. It seems like she can go. I don't know how she'll be in the third round, though, but Angela Hill's got cardio for days. So I would imagine Angela Hill has a better third round if it gets that far. But can Denise Gomez knock out Angela Hill? I don't think so. Angela Hill is so tough. Mackenzie Dern could not finish her. Mackenzie Dern had her in an armbar. She wouldn't tap. She did not give up. So that's what I think. I'm going to go with Angela Hill. She might have a first round or two, but I think she'll come the second half of the fight. I think she'll be able to start landing her jabs, start getting the clinches going. I think she'll be able to stuff any of the takedown attempts from Denise. And I think Angela pieces her up on the feet. So, plus 115, I'm going to go with Angela Hill. Fourth fight of the night, 205 pounds, men's light heavyweight. It's either going to be a banger or it's going to really suck. We got Vitor Petrino continuing his rise, taking on Modestas Bukauskas on his second run in the UFC, trying to make a comeback here. Vitor Petrino took on Marcin Prelims last fight in the first round. He eats a straight right in the pocket, but then he's able to get double overhooks and just kind of bully him up against the fence, basically. But then he presses with the right cross, and he's able to complete the double leg off of the fence, and then he lands some leg kicks, get the body lock trip takedown to end the round off. Then in the second round, he's able to get a pancake off a double right into half guard, goes for a Kimura, but then he's able to take the back and gets a rear naked choke attempt with one hook, but then he's able to keep half guard, so then he can retake the position and continue ground and pound. And then in the third round, he looks for some lunge jabs, but they're a little too short, and then he eats a couple hooks in the pocket, but then he's able to complete a blast double, gets the arm triangle for mount, gets a submission. So, yeah, slow and steady build, got the finish. Modestas Bukauskas took on Zach Palga. Zach Palga coming down from heavyweight. In the first round, he gets dropped with a blitz and then a jab and a cross, but then he gets tripped in the clinch from a front foot sweep. He misses the overhand and he gets clinched up to the fence, but then he's able to rock him with a check right hook. Then in the second round, he walks into an uppercut in the pocket, but he's able to land some jabs on the outside, starts finding his range, but then he gets pressed and he eats a couple body shots up against the fence. But then he gets rocked with an uppercut and a cross when he has his hands down, whenever he's circling, bad habit. Then in the third round, he gets an underhook and then an over-under position up against the fence. He's able to land a lunge right cross, but then he lands a jab, counter off the hook, and he's able to land some counter hooks off of the level change and just kind of right down to the fight, just get some shots in there because it was a close round, so he won on the scorecards. Modestas Bukauskas plus 200, Vitor Petrino minus 245. Yeah, this price tag on Modestas is pretty good, and I could see him winning a close, gritty decision. But Vitor Petrino, it doesn't look like he gets too tired. Modestas Bukauskas, he's going to stay at range and try to land some volume, and he might be able to mix it up in the clinch. But he's not going to, like, push the pace on Vitor Petrino, really. He might just be there the whole fight, but I don't think he's going to tire Vitor Petrino out. I think Petrino can land some big shots or get a blast double here and there and land some ground and pound that'll keep Modestas off of him. Minus 245 is a little steep, but I think Vitor Petrino is on the rise. He's only getting better. He's violent. So, minus 245, I'm going to go with Vitor Petrino. I don't know how he's going to do it. I could see a decision, but I'm just going to go with Vitor. So, yeah, it should be fun. Fifth fight of the night, 170 pounds, men's welterweight. Rinat FAKHRETDINOV taking on GOMES dos Santos. FAKHRETDINOV took on Kevin Lee. His last fight in the first round, he lands an overhand and a body kick and hard jab, and then he drops him with a straight right, and then he catches the guillotine, gets a submission on Kevin Lee on his first fight back. Say what you will about Kevin Lee, that's impressive. They do it to anybody. Then before that, he took on Brian Battle, and it was the same deal the whole fight. First round, he feints the jab, gets a double off the fence, gets in a full guard. He lands some ground and pound, and then when Brian tries to get up, he keeps the body lock and gets the trip continually and keeps him down. And it was pretty much that the whole fight. Brian couldn't stop the double. So that's probably going to be the game plan. And then GOMES dos Santos took on Abubakar Nurmagomedov. His last fight in the first round, he eats an overhand right and then a left hook to the fence, but then he gets clinched, but he's able to defend the double leg attempts, and then he shoots a single toward the end. Can't really get it, though, but has it up in the air. Then in the second round, he lands a step-in uppercut in the pocket, and he gives up his back against the fence, but he's able to pummel and not get lifted. Then he lands a straight right at range, and then he gets foot swept from the over-under position, though. Then in the third round, he's able to catch the kick, lands a nice straight right. He throws a 1-2, and he's able to stuff the takedown from front headlock. But then he gets sucker dragged, gives up his back momentarily, but he's able to get out of it. But then he's able to get the tie clinch, lands some nice knees to the body, and then he gets to the front head position. But then he gives up a peek out, and then he gives up the backpack position for the rest of the fight. So it was a mixed bag, I guess. His he's a little sloppy on his wrestling. GOMES dos Santos plus 275. Rinat FAKHRETDINOV minus 345. I'm going to go with Rinat. I think Renat's going to be able to take him down. GOMES has decent wrestling defense, but, he gives up takedowns. And, he got peeked, he had the front headlock and he got peeked out. So, I think Renat's going to have times the score, and he's going to be able to take him down. And Rinat does a pretty good job at riding people. But, maybe in the striking it could get a little interesting. But, Rinat has power. He knocked out Kevin Lee, basically. So, the price is steep, but, it's one of those times you gotta lay a chalk. I'm gonna go with Rinat FAKHRETDINOV. I don't know how he's gonna win. Maybe a submission, but I'm just gonna pick him. Main event of the prelims at 155 pounds, men's lightweight. Elvis Brenner taking on KRUSCHEWSKY, short notice replacement. Brenner took on Goram Kutaladze his last fight, and a big upset in the first round. He shoots to the fence, and then he's able to get the lat drop takedown. Can't do a ton with it, though, but then he's able to get another body lock trip takedown. Then he gets clinched with an underhook, and he eats some knees and elbows, and he gets dropped with a 1-2 right at the end of the fight there. But the more he gets punched in the face, the better he does, I guess. The second round, he eats a knee to the head off of a clinch. Then he eats some jabs and a left hook at range. But then he's able to press with the body kick, following up with a 1-2 combo. But then he eats some body shots and an elbow up against the fence, and then he gets taken down with the foot sweep. Then in the third round, he lands some lead hooks to the body in the pocket, and then a hook combo up to the head. And then follows it up with a nice knee to the body. But then he eats an elbow and some body knees from the tie clinch, though. But it seemed like he didn't mind getting hit with the elbows in the clinch for some reason. So then he's able to stuff the foot sweep attempt. And then he's able to land a counter elbow, step-in elbow off the cross, and drops him, which didn't seem like it would be hard enough to drop somebody. But Goram looked exhausted as well. And then just follows it up with a TKO via ground pound. So guy's a dog. He's got heart. He had his moments in the fight before that, but he was taking the majority of the damage, I would say. But he just really turned it on, and, you know, he's hard to get rid of. He's hard to knock out, so that's what happens. And then KRUSCHEWSKY took on Dylan Martello on Dana White's Contender Series. In the first round, he presses with some crosses, but then he eats some overhands and eats some jabs. But he's able to land some short counter hooks in the pocket and then an elbow, and then some jabs, and follows it up with some overhand rights, and he's able to land a left hook, right cross, right into a double leg, and then he takes the back, gets both hooks in, rear naked choke submission, first round. Not too bad. I know it's a Contender Series, but still. KRUSCHEWSKY plus 185, Elvis Brenner minus 225. I just have a hard time betting Elvis Brenner at favorite money. Kainan isn't really anything special, but Elvis Brenner, it's going to be a dogfight, I think. And I think Elvis Brenner is going to take some big shots. And if he's minus 225, that's a little steep. You know, Kainan, I think, could take him down and submit him, maybe. And, you know, in the striking, he kind of just, he leaves himself open a lot and gets hit a lot. So I'm probably going to be wrong, but I don't like minus 225 and Elvis Brenner. I have no choice but to bet the underdog making his UFC debut, KRUSCHEWSKY, plus 185. Dana White's Contender Series. Curse. Hopefully it continues for Elvis, but I'm going to go with Kainan. First fight on the main card, 185 pounds. Rodolfo Vieira taking on Armen Petrosyan. Should be a fun fight. Petrosyan kind of on this quiet little run here. Rodolfo Vieira trying to get back into the conversation. He's had some rough fights, had a lot of hype coming into the UFC, so a lot to gain from both guys. Rodolfo Vieira took on Cody Brundage his last fight. In the first round, he eats some overhands, but then he's able to shoot the single to the fence. Can't score there, though, but then he gets dropped with an overhand right, but he's able to get back up, get the body lock, trip up against the fence, take his back. Cody Brundage starting to fade after the first round. But then in the second round, he's able to complete the single leg off the fence. He's able to stuff the guillotine attempt. Cody Brundage pulls guillotine, gave it right to him. He's able to get in the half guard, gets the arm triangle submission. So Cody Brundage definitely helped him out there, but Rodolfo Vieira was able to persevere through the first round. Armen Petrosyan took on Christian Duncan in his last fight. In the first round, he looks for some counter hooks at range, lands some leg kicks. But then in the second round, he's able to stuff the double leg attempt, and he lands some leg kicks, throws a 1-2, then a body kick. It's kind of his classic combo. But then he's able to rock him with an overhand right, kind of cuts him off on the fence there. Then in the third round, he gets an underhook clinch on the fence, but then he eats a spinning elbow and a hook, but then he's able to complete the double leg takedown and just kind of ride out the rest of the fight. Armen Petrosyan minus 110, Rodolfo Vieira minus 110. Yeah, I just didn't see anything impressive on Armen Petrosyan. There's not a lot of activity. And Rodolfo Vieira, he can get in there and mix it up. And if he can get on the inside of Armen Petrosyan, I think it could give him some problems. I think he might be able to outwork him. And, you know, hopefully he can get a takedown in the second and third round. How's Armen Petrosyan's takedown defense? I don't know, but I just didn't see anything. I mean, Armen Petrosyan is going to have to be on his bicycle the entire fight, and it looks like if he wins, he's just going to barely outland him, barely outpoint him. Rodolfo Vieira's on a mission. It seems like Armen Petrosyan doesn't really hit that hard, unless you rush him, I guess, but -110. I'm going to go with Rodolfo Vieira. I think he can get it done. I don't know about submission, but for some reason, I think Rodolfo Vieira is going to get a decision. +600, I think that makes sense. I think he can take his back and kind of ride him out in the whole fight. So, Rodolfo Vieira by decision, why not? Second fight of the night at 185 pounds, men's middleweight. The fighting nerd, Caio Borralho, looking to add to his ascent in the division, taking on Abus Magomedov. Abus really needs a win because he had a lot of hype on him. Main event in his second UFC fight did not go well for him. So, both guys looking to make a name for themselves off of each other. Caio Borralho took on Michael Owen Jacek. His last fight in the first round, he lands a lead check right hook whenever he gets rushed. And then he gets pressed back to the fence with some overhands, though. But he's able to not take much damage, or he's able to get right out of the way. And then he lands a step in left cross, and then a right hook to the body. Then he's able to land an elbow to a pass by. And he's able to get around his back, drag him down, land some ground and pound around the back. 30 seconds left, made the most of it. Then in the second round, he gets a blast double right in the half guard. He's able to take the back, gets the body triangle, rear naked choke submission, uses ground and pound to set it up. Beautiful. He finally got a finish. Abus Magomedov took on Sean Strickland his last fight. In the first round, he lands some front kicks and some light kicks at range. He looks for a step-in left hook off of Sean's jab. And then he lands some leg kicks whenever he gets pressed, and he looks for the overhand right, followed up with the left hook. That was kind of his combo he kept going to. But he's able to land a body and a head kick up against the fence, and then he's able to get right to the clinch, body lock trip. Kind of got on his back for a minute, but Sean was able to shake him off and get up. But, you know, he can take people down. Then in the second round, he gets pressed, and he eats it some straight rights, but then he fires back with some 1-2s, but they're a little too short, and Sean Strickland just perfectly found his range. And Abus was very tired after the first round. Then he gets cut off on the fence, and then he eats some hook combinations to the body and to the head, and then he gets dropped with a 1-2 up against the fence, and then just gets TKO'd, and part of that was exhaustion. So he just completely fell off a cliff in the second round. Abus Magomedov +225, Caio Borralho -280. I'm going to go with Caio Borralho. Abus might be able to land some big shots early on, but second and third round, I think Abus is going to get tired. I think Caio's going to be able to take him down. And, you know, maybe even if he has some trouble, I think Caio can land some big shots because Abus looks for those spinning attacks and he needs range. If Caio can get on the inside, I think he can give him some trouble, get to the clinch. I just don't see, I mean, the dog money's pretty good on Abus, but I'm just not convinced. And Caio seems like he's been getting better. Well, he had a couple close fights, but he's finding ways to win every fight, and he just got a finish finally, so it looks like he's leveling up. So I just like Caio. -280 is a little steep, but I'm going to go with him. Caio by submission +175. I think after that last fight, getting the submission, I think he wants another submission. I think he can do it. I think Abus is going to be very tired. Caio Borralho by submission. I think he can do it. Third fight on the main card, 265 pounds, men's heavyweight. I hope you like sloppy. Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira taking on Don'Tale Mayes. Rodrigo took on Ilir Latifi his last fight. In the first round, he lands a lead left hook up against the fence. He's able to stuff the takedown attempts from Ilir, and he throws a jab to a lead hook to the fence. But then he eats a follow-up jab, and he gets cut off and eats a short uppercut on the fence. And they're kind of just banging in the pocket, and Ilir would kind of swing and catch him once or twice. But then in the second round, he lands a step in, lead left hook, but then he gets taken out the single. He misses a step in 1-2. He just oversteps, and then Lear's able to get that single, lift him up, and take him down. He cannot get off his back, had nothing to offer off his back, so that was tough. And then in the third round, he eats a press left hook, but then he's able to land a counter left hook. He lands an uppercut in the pocket, but then he gets taken down with the high crotch, and he gives up his back, and then he gets clinched to the fence, but at least he's able to get to his feet and eventually break off. Then he eats some left hooks in the pocket exchange. They just kind of throw at each other. He gets a little sloppy there. So, you know, Ilir had like the bigger moments with the grappling and had the takedowns, but I think Rodrigo was landing the bigger shots, the more impactful shots. So it was a close, sloppy fight. You know, Dante Almeida took on Andrei Arlovsky's last fight. In the first round, he misses with the overhand. Then he eats a counter hook. But then he gets pressed back with some overhands. But then he presses forward and he looks for some loading up hooks. And then some front kicks. But they're a little bit too short. And he kind of misses big. But then he eats a hook off of a jump. And he just kind of runs in, which was ill-advised. And Andrei Arlovsky has great ring IQ. Then he lands some elbows in the clinch, and then he follows it up with a nice Superman punch. Kind of stumbled Arlovsky a little bit. Finally found his range. Finally found what he should be doing in this fight. Then in the second round, he circles into a straight shot. And then he's able to land a lunge uppercut. And then he gets clipped with a 1-2 off of his right hook. But then he's able to slip the jab and just lands this massive windmill overhand right out of nowhere and knocks Andrei Arlovsky out. And we thought Andrei Arlovsky had a good chin. So... but he didn't, but his chin got better for some reason because he wasn't getting hit. So, Dante Almeida reminded everybody. But Dante Almeida plus 165. Rodrigo Nascimento minus 200. Dante Almeida is kind of all over the place. You know, he kind of, his ring IQ is bad. And sometimes he just gives up fights because of his ring IQ or he gets too tired. And Rodrigo Nascimento kind of doesn't have a lot of activity, but he's slow, steady pressure. But he doesn't have like the big moments that he needs to in big fights, it seems like. And it's a sloppy heavyweight fight. Plus 165. You know, Dante Almeida can wrestle a little bit. And I think he can land the bigger shots. So I think they're both just going to bang in the pocket. I guess we'll kind of see what happens. Plus 165, though. I'm going to go with Dante Almeida. I think he can do it, but it's a coin flip. Co-main event of the evening at 170 pounds, men's welterweight. Gabriel Bonfim taking on Nicholas Danish Dynamite Dalby. Gabriel Bonfim, 2 first-round submissions. Nicholas Dalby, a tough, grizzled veteran that can win those close, gritty fights. This will be a perfect test for Gabriel Bonfim. If he could possibly spark Nicholas Dalby in the first round, we know this dude is a big problem. And if not, you know, he'll gain the experience. So, and Nicholas Dalby, you know, it's his time to kind of reestablish himself and get a win off a hot, young, upcoming prospect. So, should be interesting fight. Could be fireworks. Gabriel Bonfim took on Trevin Giles' last fight. In the first round, he pressures towards the fence with some lead left hooks, but then he eats a 1-2, but then he's able to get to the over-under position, then transition to a body lock, big lift, big slam, and he just jumps the guillotine from like a front headlock position and gets a submission. So he takes some risks, but he knows what he's doing. So it worked out for him. Nicholas Dalby took on Muslim Salikov his last fight. No easy task. In the first round, he pressures on the outside. He pumps some jabs, but then he eats some leg kicks and a 1-2 to the body. But then he eats a straight right off of his body kick, but then he eats a couple left hooks, though. But then he's able to rock him with the head kick. Just waits for Muslim to get a little bit right into range. Boom, head kick. Hurts him really bad. At the end of the first round, really nice. Then in the second round, he pressures with some jabs, and then he shoots a double to the body lock. But then he tries to knee him, and his knee gets caught, and Muslim picks him up and slams him. That happens. But then he pops right back up, and then he's able to get the body lock back trip, and then he's able to take the back, gets one hook in, trying to set up a twister type of deal. But he knows what he's doing on the ground. Then in the third round, he lands a 1-2, and then gets a tie clinch. And then he's able to transition to an underhook. Then he lands a straight combo to the underhook. Lands some nice knees to the body, softens him up. And then he lands a 1-2 and then a head kick in the pocket. And then he's able to hit an elbow pass by and drag him down to the mat. And just really won over the judges there. So really put it on heavy at the end of the fight. Nicholas Dalby plus 425. Gabriel Bonfim minus 575. Yeah, this is crazy. This line's crazy. I don't know. I think Nicholas Dalby's tougher than what they're giving him credit for. I think he's better. What does Gabriel Bonfim look like in the second and the third round? I don't know. But you know what? I don't want to bet minus 575 to find out. You know, if it was closer, if Gabriel was like minus 250, I'd probably bet on him. But plus 425 is just disrespectful and ridiculous for Nicholas Dalby. He's been around the game a long time. He's seen a lot. What happens if he gets past the first round? You know, plus 425, I'm going to go with Nicholas Dalby. He's good on the ground. His striking is very tight, and he doesn't waste movements, and he sticks to the basics, and he has good technique, you know? And Gabriel Bonfim takes wild chances. He pulls guillotines. Maybe he doesn't work on Nicholas. Who knows? But Nicholas Dalby, plus 425. Sign me up, dude. Let's do it. Main event of the evening, 265 pounds, men's heavyweight. Number 9, Jailton Almeida taking on number 10, the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. This is a big fight. It was supposed to be Curtis Blades. That would tell us if Jailton's ready for a title. But this one also tells us, is Jailton Almeida able to get a win over a tough, grizzled veteran, Derek Lewis, who's been in so many fights, who has so many knockouts? And if Jailton Almeida struggles with Derek Lewis, then maybe he's not up at that caliber. And if Derek Lewis can win, he can beat the high upcoming prospect Jailton Almeida, get another knockout. I mean, he's got to be like one of the biggest fan favorites of all time, you know? So I'm excited. I think this fight's going to be fireworks either way. And I think we're going to have this Jailton Almeida striking might get tested. I think we're going to see some striking out of him. So, you know, Derek Lewis can defend or takedown or two. Don't forget about that. Jailton Almeida took on Jairzinho Rozenstruik his last fight. In the first round, he gets pressed with the 1-2. And his single attempt gets stuffed right away. But then he throws the front kick. It's too short, though. And then he feints a left hook, and then he just shoots a blast double right in the half guard. Takes his sweet time, doesn't throw a lot of ground and pound. Then he's able to transition him out, then goes crazy with the ground and pound. And then Jairzinho turns on his stomach, gets a rear naked choke submission. He's a beast on the ground. I'm not going to lie. You know, he's tough. It's undeniable. But, you know, everybody's letting him get there easily, it seems like. Derek Lewis took on Marcos Rogério de Lima his last fight. We all know the flying knee, 30-second knockout. Probably not going to happen in this next fight, but it could. But before that, he took on Sergey Spivak, a strong grappler. In the first round, he goes for a step-in hook, but then he goes to an over-under position. But he hangs out there too long, and then he gets hip-tossed right in the mount, and then he eats some ground and pound. He gives up his back. He stands up like 2 or 3 times, but he keeps on getting mat returned. And the one thing I noticed is he doesn't fight the hands when he gets up. He's just kind of standing up to stand up, it seems like. And he just gets mat returned very easily. And then he gets finally put in an arm triangle and gets submitted. So, you know, it is what it is. He kept busy, but I don't think he was doing strategically the right things he needed to do. But, you know, he doesn't accept bottom position, so that's good. Derek Lewis, plus 380. Jailton Almeida, minus 500. I think we all know Jailton Almeida is probably going to win this fight, but he might not, you know. And Derek Lewis has so much hype on him. And we've seen a lot of underdogs win lately. And I want to bet Derek Lewis so bad, but I just don't think it's realistic. Okay, we saw with Volkanovski and Usman, it's hard to fight strong grapplers on short notice, and that's what this is. Could he knock him out? Yes. You know, it's not going to be as fun, but I think Jailton is going to get a tough... They might have a little bit of a go at the beginning. Might be a little bit of a flurry, but I think Jailton is going to be able to get another submission win. Maybe. Or maybe it goes 5 rounds, who knows, but... Realistically, Jailton Almeida is going to win this fight. I don't know if it's by KO or submission, and I don't really want to pick a round. I could see it happening in the second, maybe even the third round, but I think Jailton's going to get the victory, probably submission. But either way, it's an exciting victory either way, so I'm going to go with Jailton Almeida. All right, everybody, thanks for riding with me. Appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that stuff. Leave a comment down below. Interesting card. Had some shakeups to it, but... You know, I'm feeling confident. Did my research. I think we can get it perfect this time. Let's see some upsets. Let's see some violence. And let's see some profits. Good luck, everyone.